Welcome to all our Business B.E.A.R listeners. It's your favorite host, Connor Norman here, and we've got an impossible to miss episode for you today as we settle down and hear from HART for Animals. But before we get there and get those for real down details, I need to remind all our listeners that this is an absolutely free podcast endorsed by Garrett County Business Development. Any businesses that would like to come on or be featured on the show are welcome. Shoot me a line at 301-334-7281 or email me at cnorman@garrettcounty.org. Also, any opinions or views expressed by either the host or the guest are their own and do not reflect that of Garrett County Government or Garrett County Business Development. Now that the official stuff's out of the way, let's dig into this interview and learn about our friends at HART for Animals. Since 2003, HART for Animals Incorporated has been rescuing and finding homes for animals in Western Maryland, West Virginia, and Western Pennsylvania. But don't take my word for it. Let's learn from the source today. My guest and Executive Director of HART, Paula Yudelevit. How are you doing today, Paula?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm looking out at the storm clouds today. You know, there was a beautiful sun out a moment ago, but we've got rain, tornado warnings, but we're not going to let that step on our parade because this is a pretty important day, isn't it?
It is. I'm really excited about it. 4 o'clock today.
Oh, yes. And we're going to go a little bit more on why we're excited for 4 o'clock today a little later in this episode. You know what? Actually, Paula, I think we can preface it a little. How many years is HART celebrating today?
20.
20 years. Now, that is a big reason to be here. You know what? Before we hear another word, let's set it straight. Pronounce your last name for everyone to hear.
Yudelevit.
Yudelevit. I don't know why I can't say that. Am I going to get it wrong in the future? Yes.
Yes. Paul is fine. I tell everybody that.
You know, people get my name backwards. It's either Norman Connor, Connor Norman, or they'll misspell it. I totally understand. I'm there all the time.
How long have I known you? And I wrote you an email that said, hey, Norman. And I'm like, and then I reread it and I was like, what did I do? I know that so much better.
I know it. Again, it happens to me all the time. And it's happening to you. All the events I've introduced you to for years and still messing it up. It's all right. But we're not here to talk about how our names are messed up because people are going to continue to do that to us. Yeah, but let's talk about yourself. Tell us about you.
I've been the executive director for over 10 years now.
Okay.
And that's right before we opened the center itself. Native of DC, have lived here for 23 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and I've had my own business and marketing business and stuff like that. Love living here, and I love what I do for HART, and I love what I do with the animals. But, you know, before that, just Kennedy Center and Bank of America and stuff like that.
Let's talk about HART. So, not a native to Garrett County, me neither. We're transplants to the area, but after you're here for so long, you become a local. That's, I think, one of the unique things about Garrett County. One of the best things is we're talking about our businesses, but we're also talking why this is one of the best places in the world, I think, to set up shop, live, bring your family to, have a business, get involved in organizations. What do you think?
I think one of the things here is the community and how many people and friends that you can meet here if you choose to do that. You don't have to, but it's so community oriented. I've met really great people here, great friends, way easier than living in a city. The people are so nice and there's so much to do that, you know, it's become my home. It became my home years ago. The way you can tell is just go work at the fair, working at the Rotary Club French fries. How many people do you see out there that you know? That's when you know that you've become a local.
So welcoming everybody around here, and that's, again,
it's a great place.
A pinnacle of this community. So let's go into HART and start learning about it. You said it's been around for 20 years. We're celebrating that today. Let's talk about back to the very beginning. Can you give me a little bit of history about HART for Animals?
So in 2003, how it started was Candy DiGiovanni and Caroline Robeson worked at the shelter, at the county shelter. And so many animals were euthanized just because of space.
Oh, my.
And they wanted to change that. And so in 2003, they created HART, Homeless Animal Rescue and Transport. And they started contacting regional shelters and nonprofit organizations and started doing transports, rescue and transports, start bringing it down with a dream of opening a place that was an adoption center for animals to get them out of the shelter so that they can live a better life and find forever homes.
Yeah.
And so in 2007, they met a couple named Michael and Mercedes Pellet, who had been or transplants from DC, came to retire, and they were the ones that actually started raising the money. They got the capital campaign going
Okay.
through a USDA grant and major donations. We built the HART Animal Center, and that took a long time. We
Yeah.
opened. It'll be 10 years in February,
Mm-hmm.
so that's another milestone for us in February, which is when the HART Center opened. And then because we became, it was more than rescue and transport. It's now just called HART, HART, Heart for Animals. So because it's taken on so much of a new meaning. It's no
Yeah.
longer just rescue and transport. And for those who don't know, when the center opened, the way we did it was, so unbeknown to a lot of people, thousands of nonprofit organizations don't make it through the first or second year. They raise the funds, but
Yeah,
they
that's
just, they can't sustain themselves. They start hiring people, or maybe it is a rescue that they just can't sustain. So what we did was we took, there's revenue centers. There is the Bradle Veterinary Clinic, which we'll talk about in a little bit. There's the Bed and Bark Inn Pet Hotel, which if you don't have a reservation, at least 2 months out, you're not going to get a reservation because it's better than your vacation.
It's a popular place.
It's a very popular place. Muttworks Grooming. And then we have Pick of the Litter gift shop, or thrift shop, I'm sorry. So those support through revenues the general operation of the center. And that is the mortgage, the staff, payroll,
Yeah.
the operations, the maintenance, all of that. Then through grants, fundraising, and we do a lot of events, private donations, and people just helping out. We raise the funds for our adoption wing.
Mm-hmm.
Which entails rescue and transports and adoptions. It also covers all medical costs, behavior issues. We're dealing right now with a couple of dogs, those Dolly Sods dogs that we're sending to a place in Potomac that through people's funds, through donations, we can socialize them and work on their behavior so they can be adopted. That's HART. We have funds that cover, certain things, like we do low cost, and the clinic is a full service veterinary clinic.
Okay.
So it takes care. We got a new laser that was donated by a company, so that helps dogs rehabilitate. We have everything else that a normal veterinary clinic will have. We just got an incubator to help with the kittens and the puppies, with oxygen and things like that. We have 3 vets, and so they do surgeries, spay neuters, all of that.
Yeah.
Everything that a regular veterinary clinic would do. But we also do low cost and no cost spay and neuters for our low income households here. We have a fund called Macy's Fund, which people can get a voucher and collect their community cats that they have always fed, and because it's so nice, but they don't want the cats. And we know that cats, one kitten can produce 7,000 kittens in their lifetime.
Oh my gosh.
So it's always good to spay and neuter those kittens.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put this in here, not to throw off our tangent here, but I have to personally thank HART. So I went over this, beginning of the summer, around when lots of kittens start to appear. Yeah. There were 2 adults in a back shed, and I think I pulled 9 kittens out of there. I can't take care of 9 kittens, but HART was so gracious. You guys took the whole litter, kept the whole family together, and now I'm sure they're going off to fantastic homes. I did do my part. I kept one. So his name is Tigger. He's fantastic. He's a lot of energy and very rambunctious, but he'll be going there for all his shots and services here shortly. So glad to hear.
Good, because you coming to Heart for our services supports our mission.
Fantastic.
So that's good, and I did the same thing.
So locals and people coming to the area that are maybe used to let's talk from the visitor perspective, and for someone that's moving here, for a larger or more urban area, they're going to find these services at their vets. So it's nice that they can come up to the mountains, they can move here, or locals have access to top of the line veterinary care, regardless of our rural setting.
Oh yeah, well, and I'm not plugging, but there's good vets in this whole area. I like to say that Hart has amazing vets. As a matter of fact, Dr. Jesse, for 2 years in a row, has won the best vet in Garrett County.
Oh,
through
great.
The Republican. And we have the best care in the bed and bark. That's why people keep coming back. So we have very caring people. That's one of the things that was so important to me and to everyone is we treat everybody the same.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you're from, what you do, what walk of life you are, you walk in our building and you and your animals are treated the same.
Yeah.
And we care about them, and that's what people realize. I think your window's leaking.
Yeah, this is the first interview that's been slightly interrupted by hail outside. It's rather dark. Some tornado warnings in the area. So this is going to be a nice little.
We may be hunkering down somewhere.
We may have to take our interview to the closet. As the tornado passes, we'll continue this interview on.
Oh God. But anyway, so everybody's treated the same, and that is so important to all of us. You walk in, there's smiles on the faces, and those are the kind of Google reviews that we get, how caring we are and things of that nature. More importantly, how much we care for your animals. So that's kind of who we are, and I'm glad you're doing that, because I did the same thing years ago. I did the wrong thing. I found a cat that was freezing, it was February, or took her in on my screened-in porch. She comes back with 7 kittens.
Uh-oh.
I kept her and one of the kittens. I had them all spay and neutered, and then I was able to either Caroline took a couple of them, and this is before HART, and the other ones I was able to share. But that's why we have this Macy's Fund, so people can get a voucher no matter who you are. Bring your cats in, make an appointment, hopefully, and we'll spay and neuter them, and then we'll clip their ear, and they go back out. So yeah, so it's not TNR's trap and release. And that's really not what this is. This is more like they're tame enough that you're feeding them, but you're not overpopulating. So that's just one of our funds. We have other funds, and these are people that donate into these funds, or we'll do an event. So, and Macy was actually named after one of our amazing young kennel assistants in the adoption wing who was just loved animals, and she tragically was killed in an accident at a very young age, and her mother started this fund.
Wow, incredible.
So other people now donate into it so that we can keep it up, because once the fund is gone, it's gone. So we also have Neil's Fund, and Neil's Fund, which one of our Have a Heart guest bartender supports, is a fund that for low-income families that need emergency care for their animals, or got hit by a car, or has something. We will take care of that up to $1,000 out of that fund.
Oh wow, fantastic!
And then there's other funds like Lola's Fund that is for senior dogs, and it's the same thing, emergency care. Or if you adopt a senior from our adoption center, we give you a discount throughout the life of that animal. So.
Oh, great.
So we've got several funds that, Mocha's Fund. And Mocha's Fund takes care of the adoption animals.
Very cool. So that's good to kind of dig into some of these programs. So we heard some great programs that you guys have established, some of the funds that you have available. Let's talk about this bed and bark. Why is it so popular?
Because the dogs come out of there, and cats, just as well as they came in, meaning they don't come back with anxiety. People don't leave their animals I don't like the word boarding. We are a pet hotel. So people take their dogs to boarding and they'll come out shaking or, they're not used to it.
Yeah.
We had one client who used to bring a chair that the dog sleeps on and
Oh, really?
into the den. Yeah, we encourage them to bring their own bedding, of course, their food to make them as comfortable as possible. And they're out 4 times a day, and our people love cuddling with them, and they treat them very well. And they have their runs, and then we have our suites that have doggy doors that lead out to a private patio, and then we've got suites that you can have two large or 3 dogs in. So they're treated well. They get their vacation, and when they come out, when they go home, they get a report card with pictures of their playtime and
Oh,
sleeping
nice.
and things like that, and our kennel assistants write in how the dog or cat did, and were they anxious or did they eat well or how did they play, and they'll write like how much we love them and we love playing with them, and they play with the ball, or they went swimming in the pool and stuff like that. So it's a great place to stay. I've never had my dogs at a boarding facility, and I've left them there very comfortable. They love it. They get their smells because of their beds are in there and things like that. So
Wow, that's incredible. It sounds like a good time too.
it is, and it's very popular.
I can imagine. I've got a couple of friends that travel quite often, and they say that the first place they're taking their dogs to, down to Heart, because they're going to take care of them and they're going to have a good time while they're away until they come back. And that's quite often. So you got regular customers out of a few of them.
Good, because we've got people that come from Virginia that go on vacation every year for a week or something. They'll drive their dogs here and then go to the beach or something and drive them back. I mean, it's crazy, but the people that work there are just, they love the animals, and so
Yeah.
they treat them well, and they keep them clean. And
Well, that's part of offering a great service is having some great people behind it. So this sounds like a lot, and we kind of went over this a little bit. You're offering full veterinary services. You're offering for income eligible folks programs and funds that will help them take care of their pets, keep them happy and healthy in their homes with their loved ones. So this is a lot of work. I imagine you guys do a lot of fundraising, and you mentioned quite a few. But let's talk about those events specifically. What are some of your fundraising events, and what do they look like?
so we have about 5 or 6 big ones.
Okay.
Um, we just had our first golf tournament in June, which went really well. We were very excited. It exceeded our expectations. It was at
Fantastic.
1,000 Acres. It was beautiful. We have a heart guest bartender, which is at Dutch's and at Mountain State
Okay.
Brewing Company, and it's Rayleigh's and it's tailor made. And it used to be kind of a competition, but really now it's not. And it's called guest bartender because those 2 companies, their people bartend
Oh,
or
wow.
serve, and they have a huge silent auctions, and they're fun, and we do really well with those. And then, have you ever been to one?
Oh, yeah. I've been to several.
Okay, good.
I know. When I interview, it's always funny because sometimes I act like I don't know, and that's just to feed the question and
Yeah.
keep the conversation going. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, I know. I love those events.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're a good time, and a shout out to organizations like TaylorMade and Rayleigh and Duchess and Mountain State for volunteering their time and giving proceeds to that event. Fantastic that our businesses support our local nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, Rayleigh's and TaylorMade have been wonderful to us, and as have Mountain State and Dutchess over the years.
Mhm.
So I mean, they're great supporters of Heart, and we love them. I mean, they always are supporting us in some way, whether it's sponsorships or giving us stuff that we need, donations, things of that matter. So
Well, and that ties into a great community. It's not just the individuals, but the businesses and organizations that we all help each other. And I think that's kind of a unique thing for our community. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. We have the Deep Creek Lake Art and Wine Festival,
Yes.
and that's pretty much our biggest fundraiser of the year.
Okay.
That is, well, every other year we do black tie and tails. So
Okay.
this year we switch off with the hospital. So the hospital will have theirs this year, which is not black tie and tails. It's called something else. But our gala is every other year. So our gala will come up in November of 2024.
Okay.
That's huge for us as well. But the one that's been going on for 19 years, not necessarily with HART, but I was the founder, me and Vianne Bell, were the founders of the Art and Wine Festival 19 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we became HART and Garrett Lakes Arts Festival became the benefactors of it, I think maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it's taken off. And you talk about, we were talking earlier about an event. The first event that we did the first year, we swore we weren't going to do it again. All the pitfalls, all the laws, and we had no clue what we were doing. Vianne and I said, we are never doing this again. And we ended up with, I think, 800 people. We thought we were going to have 400 or 500.
Yeah.
And we made this isn't a lot, but we netted like $1,500 or $2,000, and we said, oh. And it's just gotten bigger and bigger, and now it's went up to like 3,000 people. Since COVID, it's gone down a little bit, but it's starting to build back up.
Great.
And the executive director of GLAF, Mary Cummings, she and I work on this along with a huge committee. We have a great, wonderful committee. We work on this pretty much 8 months of the year, and it is so much fun. And it's a destination that people come for the weekend. And the way that started was the marketing roundtable for the chamber.
Okay.
So I was the first chair of that. Just had started. What are we going to do? And the first request was, how can we put heads on beds off season? So, we were thinking golf, but at the time there was one golf course, and, it just didn't make sense. If you're going to do a golf event, you want different places so it becomes a weekend and they go to place. So I don't even know how it came up, but we said, let's do something with wine. And because we all like to drink. And so then we went to Art and Wine, and that's pretty much how it started. It was the chamber, and then the chamber said, we support this, but it has become an event on its own. So we just became a whole different committee.
Wow.
And took off from there. Had some great people helping us out along the way. And it's gotten bigger and better every year. We actually, even though HART and GLAF are the benefactors, we invite local nonprofits to set up booths where they can do a raffle. The Dove Center, Garrett Mentors has been there every year, and they sell those crocheted wine holders that you put around their neck.
Aren't those things neat?
Yeah,
it's great.
I'm not going to wear one, but yes, they're neat. People buy them, they love them. They can, and I can see it because then we don't have a broken glass. The Dove Center promotes the Festival of Trees, and so we just have other people now. Reflection House, which is new, they're going to do a raffle, so you can sell tickets to an event. You can, whatever you want to do, and so
that's neat.
So we do have other nonprofits that can be beneficiaries from this many people from other, from outside of this area.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a great collaboration, even a teamwork. You guys are helping out multiple organizations. Obviously HART, GLAF being the major benefactors, but there's also a lot more that comes out of that. People are visiting the area, they're contributing to our businesses, they're staying in our hotels, they're, of course, seeing our other nonprofits. So that's fantastic, like wholesome community event.
It is. And we also have amazing sponsors. Deep Creek Beverage has been a sponsor of ours for, I don't know, a long time. We have TaylorMade, Solnet, Raley's, Firefly Farms, and I'll talk a little bit about what they do, the Red Barn, Perry's, the Stogie Company, Mountain State Brewery, Deep Creek Times, Shop and Save. All those people have been, a lot of them has been sponsoring it for a while. Mountain State Brewery and the Stogie Company do they sponsor the football lounge. So
Okay.
for all you people, and I'm not saying guys because women are into it too, that love the Saturday football games and are coming, usually it's take me to the Art and Wine Festival. You can watch football. So they go to the football lounge, and we have the big game of the week, and we have beer on tap from Mountain State. So you can buy beer, you can watch the football games, and then the Stogie Company are cigars. And so they sell cigars, and we have an area, they have an area set up on the other wall, on the outside wall from the football lounge, where they have a TV out there too, and people can, buy and taste their different cigars and sit out there and drink their wine or drink their beer and watch the game and socialize. And so so they're the sponsors of the football lounge.
Oh, that's very cool.
So yeah, so every year we kind of change something up a little bit. But we love our sponsors, and McHenry Beverages has been the one that has been the licensee of the festival every year.
Okay.
So they've been a huge help.
That's kind of part of it. You mentioned a little earlier, we've got other events going through this very thing. It can be very tedious. There can be a lot that goes into making one of these events happen. So my hat's off to you. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, but if you get to that point, we've got successes like the Art and Wine has been these past years. Up to 3,000 people. That's an incredible event, bringing people here. Like you said earlier, it was a heads on beds thing. Now it's a support our community, give us something to do out here. So what a fantastic event and fantastic group of people that went behind this. And kind of speaking of that, this is a lot of work. I imagine volunteers are pretty essential to that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, and volunteers are essential to the Art and Wine Festival, but they're really essential to HART too, so I'll kind of combine them.
Yeah, let's hear
But
it.
we do need volunteers for the Art and Wine Festival, and it's fun. Most of the setup, we have the support of Officer Sharon and the county jail. So we have the road crews that come out and help us with the big heavy stuff on
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. They're terrific. And we have other people that help us with the setup, which we definitely need help with, but mostly we need help with pouring. So we need wine pours, and they work with the vendors, with our suppliers or our wineries, who help them as well. And they're 3-hour shifts, and it's fun. You get a free T-shirt. You get to talk to people.
Yeah.
If I wasn't running around, and actually, there were times that we did that as well. It's kind of fun talking to people. That's what I like working at some of the booths at the fair, because I just like to, it gets pretty crowded, but you just like to smile and have fun and
connect with people.
Yeah, and learn something about a new wine. But also, just connect with people and have a good time, because before or after you can also drink, and we have special ticket prices for our volunteers. So yeah, volunteers are important, but they're also, HART needs volunteers. And
yeah, let's talk about that.
yeah, so it used to be a little more tedious than it is now. You used to have to go to 2 different trainings, and after you did the first training, you would do something else for 4 hours, whether it work at a thrift shop or whether you would be doing cleaning and things like that. Then you would go through another training program. We've streamlined that and shortened it. We asked people to come in and watch one video about HART, because you need to know what you're doing, but also a little training on walking dogs, socializing with cats. And then you go right into it. We teach you how to use the easy walk, how to walk them, there's charts, and say, okay, this dog, you can't walk past another den. You need to take them from their outside run and, bring them around, or
Hmm.
there are different things that people learn, but it's easy now, and there's no set times anymore. So where it was like certain times you had to come,
Yeah.
um, you no longer have to do that. So you can come anytime during our hours that we're open, and that we have supervisors there. And we find that people are more able to work. That we found that people are more not as restrictive. So because
Yeah.
we're not as restrictive, people can come anytime. We also have a program that we just relaunched, and it was before COVID, but now it's turned into something a little different, called the Reading Buddies program.
Okay.
And this is where kids that are too young to walk the dogs read to the dogs and the cats. And we have a library, and it's called Enzo's Library. It's kind of a long story, but I'll try to shorten as much as possible. So we
Let's hear
found
it.
this nonprofit organization in the DC area that donates to us. And so I looked them up, and they, long story short, they adopted a cat from us named Enzo. And their nonprofit's called the Bavis Foundation, where they supply books to underprivileged areas, or they supply them to the military, or kids, or they supply these books. It's a small organization run by a CPA. She has a house here,
Mm-hmm.
and we connected. So through her, we created Enzo's Library,
Wow.
and we recreated the Reading Buddy. So what it does is it helps kids. It helps them, with their reading, but it helps socialize the dogs. And the dogs sit there, and the cats,
They
and
probably love it.
they love it. They sit in front of their den. They'll read to them. The dogs will, because they're reading, and it's soothing for the dogs, but it's and socializing, but it helps the kids too. And then the kids can take home a book, because the Bavis Foundation supplies us with the books. They can take home a book, and the Bavis Foundation also supplies dog treats and a little bag and a bookmark. So it's a win-win all the way around. And so that program, anybody can call HART and ask for Edward. Edward is our communications director, or it's Edward at heartforanimals.org, and can find out more. And the Reading Buddies program is Thursdays, from 3 to 5, and you just call in advance. And
Great. Well, that's fantastic information to know. And you guys have got such dynamic programming for all of them. Got to tell you, Paula, how many pets do you own, or do you just have all of them?
me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 3 dogs and 2 cats. Now, I have 4 right now because I'm dog sitting for a friend. But we love her because she was part of our family. She was one of our dog's daughters, but she's
Oh,
12
okay.
now. So we're dog sitting. All of my dogs are seniors. I adopted Katie, who I love, when she was 11, and she's 15. She's been a star at Heart many times. She actually was um, we won $12,000 in a vote for type of thing from Katie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. I have Buddy, who's a nutcase. He's 11, and our lab Sonny is 11. So they're all seniors, and it's gonna be sad. But anyway, so 3, 2 adopted at Heart. The cats were the story I told where
Oh, yeah.
found the one.
You found them.
They don't even. But problem with my cats is they don't acknowledge me. Shadow's the only one that does on the bed when to brush her. Otherwise, the other one I can't even. I don't. She has no relationship with me. I have to have Caroline from Heart come and help me take her to the bed.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, so cats, I love them, but they don't love me.
It's okay. Some people are cat people, some are dog people, and some love both, and they may not love you, but you take care of them anyway. They're kind of our spoiled brats sometimes. This kind of brings something up to me. I've heard it quite a bit. You said you were taking care of a friend's animal. We got to take care of each other's animal. I understand you have a program, pet fostering program. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, we have a kitten. So the kitten program, and it's a lot of work. I want to just say that upright. You have to be really dedicated to that but it's so needed. So the kittens can get sick easily in an environment that has a lot of them.
Okay.
So we ask people to take the mom and the kittens to foster until they reach a certain poundage, and then we'll take them back when they're healthy enough, and either transport or adopt them out. And we also have a dog program, a dog foster program, and that program is similar. I mean, we want to bring more animals into our adoption wing, and when we
Yeah.
get full, we can't take them. So we really want to be able to have people. We need help with fostering. The other thing that we need them for are these kinds of dogs that really need socialization.
Yeah,
Most of
you're
the
right.
people who foster already have a dog, so they want to make sure that they get along with the other one. It's usually because it's easier for them. So we supply everything. A lot of times people say, don't worry about it. But we'll supply the dog food. We'll supply the cat food and the nutritional things that the kittens need. But most of the time people say, don't worry about it. We, we've been asked about fostering for years. And when it came time, people were all gung-ho, but around here, it's more difficult. So yes, please call us about our foster programs. We would love to have you as a foster, and you usually keep the dog until they're adopted.
Excellent. I can imagine half the time when you're fostering, it's kind of hard maybe to give the dog back. I imagine a lot of fosters ends up the owners, right?
So my two were fostered, but I have to say I knew that I was going to adopt them. But it depends on if you're used to it or not. Or a lot of times they're adopted, and that's actually what one of the things that can be difficult. But also, if you're used to it, you know they're going to a good home, and then you can take another one. So that's why
Absolutely.
give it up, because if we adopted, you can get another one to foster. And people, it's funny because I'm kind of going to turn this around a little bit, but people who tell me I can't volunteer at your place because I'll bring them all home. Okay, here's my answer to that.
Okay.
You pretend you're a grandparent and you get to play with the kids all day, but somebody else is going to go home and change their diaper and feed them. And you've had all your play and fun time with the kids, can spoil them rotten and let somebody else take care of them. So that's how I look at it. And and it's not as bad as it seems. It's a good thing to do. It's
That's fantastic.
Feel good thing to do.
Yes, it is. Well, I'm glad you got to talk a little bit about that. We talked about so much today. But if people wanted to learn more, if they wanted to adopt, if they wanted to enroll in some of your services, come and take advantage of the veterinary clinic and their services, if they want to become a volunteer, how do they do it? What's the number? What's the website? Where do they go?
Okay, so our website is HART, HART, for animals.org. And our phone number is 301 387 7729. You can also text us at that number, and somebody will get back to you. Caroline is our program manager in the adoption wing. She can help you with adoptions. Edward is our volunteer and communications coordinator. He can help you with anything about volunteering. If you want to, our events, you can email me or info@deepcreekwinefest.com.
Well, thanks again, Paula. There you have it, folks. Thank you so much to Paula Yudelevit.
You're welcome, Norman.
You'd love her.
Thank you for having me, Norman. Connor. This was fun. This was great, and I hope that I hope that anybody who's listening gets a little bit better understanding of HART and all of our events and the Art and Wine Festival, and can come out and visit us and buy a ticket.
There you have it, folks. Be sure to visit their website, heartforanimals.org, or give them a call at their telephone number
301-387-7729. And the website for the Art and Wine Festival is deepcreekwinefest.com.
Incredible. What a great interview, Paula. Thank you so much for everything you've shared with us today. I think our listeners got something valuable out of it. In every show, I open up the floor to our guests to clarify anything about their businesses or organizations. So this is your time to plug anything. What do you got?
Okay, so the Art and Wine Festival is September 8th and 9th, which I forgot to mention. But Friday night is our premium wine tasting.
Okay.
And it's advanced sales only, and it always sells out. So you might want to get your tickets soon. We have live entertainment from HART to HART. We have premium wines, and we have light hors d'oeuvres from Firefly Farms. So it's a great evening. It's from 5 to 8. The 8th, again, advanced sales only. And then Saturday, September 9th, is the general Art and Wine Festival with live entertainment, food, wine. Well, talked about the football lounge, so I'm over that. It's just a lot of fun.
There you have it, folks. Thank you so much to Paula Yudelevit, Executive Director of Heart for Animals, for popping by to talk all about our furry friends and their great organization. Remember to follow our Garrett County, Maryland business development page on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, or X. I'm not sure what they're calling it these days. Elon Musk's thing. Be sure to follow our page on that for the latest business news and future podcast episodes. Thanks again to everyone for listening. This is your host, Connor Norman, and I'll see you all on the other side.